So now that we finished setting up our pictures, or half-face portraits, so we have the top of the head, the bottom of the chin, and in the middle we have our eyes. In the middle of our eyes and our chin, we have our nose, and from our nose to our chin, we have our mouth. So now that we have our little markers, we are going to move to creating the head shape. So to do the head shape, when we were practicing, we practiced drawing those oval shapes or an egg shape. We're going to be doing that same type of method, but we're only going to be creating half. So it's going to be a little bit easier than drawing the full circle or the full oval or egg. You're only going to have to do half. So to do this, we're going to make sure that we are going very, very lightly with our pencil. That way we have enough to erase. If we push too hard with our pencil, we will not be able to erase. And we are going to want to erase a lot to make sure that we get the shape of our head. So to do this, we're going to start at the top and we're going to finish all the way down at that bottom of our chin, so that bottom marker. We're going to do that same method that we practiced with again. We're going to start at the top. You're going to come out. Remember, we're going to draw nice and light until we know it is right. I'm going to come out, and remember, the chin comes in just a little bit. So I'm going to come in. Now I'm drawing a little bit darker so that you can see, but remember, we are going nice and light until we know it is right. And we will be erasing here in a little bit, so make sure that you are drawing nice and light. So now that we have the shape of our head, so we have that circle oval shape, we are going to start to create a jawline. As you can see, when we come in towards the bottom, it creates that chin. Now sometimes our jaw comes out, or it goes in, and we can even cut in on our head. So to do those cuts, remember we drew nice and light. You're going to draw lightly again, and you're just gonna come in on the circle a little bit if your circle went out really far. We're just gonna bring it in just a little bit, just as I'm doing here. And if you feel right next to your eye, you can feel your cheekbone. And our cheekbone and our eye, it comes in and then it comes out just a little bit. So following what you feel on your face, come in just a tiny bit, not too much, and then come back out to that circle line. And then you can create your jawline, so feel kind of your jaw. I know we have our mask on, but just pretend or feel your jaw. And you're going to come out or in depending on what your face looks like. So as you can see, I'm coming in and out. But now I have two lines, so I'm going to make sure that I erase the lines I do not want. So I'm going to erase those circle lines. Remember, I drew nice and light, that way I can erase my pencil lines. And as you can see here, erasers, as I said last time, erasers are our best friends, especially when we are drawing people, because they are very difficult to create sometimes. So I'm going to outline this one more time so we can all see it a little bit better on the video. I'm going to come in, out, there's my chin comes in and all the way down, and now I have my head shape. So I have the outside of my head, and I still have those three marks in the middle. So I have my eyes, my nose, and my mouth. And remember, when we get to drawing these different sections, you will be able to bring it up or down depending on where your eye lays. Same with your nose and same with your mouth. But before we get to learning how to draw our eye, come across from, well, I'll put our pencils on that dashed line right there. and you're going to pick your pencil up and go straight across from that middle line where our eye will be. Here we're going to start to make the ear. And the ear, as you saw, was kind of like a backwards C shape. So from the ear to about the mouth, you're going to come down and you're going to create that shape to the nose. So it depending, kind of feel again where your eye and your mouth are and make your adjustments from there. But you're going to kind of make a C that comes in just a little bit more at the bottom, just like this. Now we have our head and our ear. So now it is time to do our eyes, nose, and mouth. Now I'm going to do these on a separate piece of paper. That way we can see nice and close up how we are going to go about creating our eye, our nose, and our mouth. Oh, I almost forgot. Let's just create that neck while we're in there too. So coming at the inside a little bit of your jawline. So here's my outside of my line. You're going to come in just a little bit. You're just going to make a curved line coming down. This will create our neck. Almost forgot that. Alright, but now we are ready to move on to our eyes, nose, and mouth. So time for the eye. We're going to start with the eye first. And again, that is that middle dash between our top of our head and our chin. So our eye is that top line or right in the middle of our head and our chin. So coming over here, we are going to start by making a small cross or X shape. Now this is going to come a little bit further out. So we have our dash. We're going to skip a space. We're going to come over almost to about where that neckline is. And then I'm going to come and I'm going to make, it kind of looks like a plus sign. So these two lines, they are going to be our guiding points to make sure that our eye is nice and level and nice and even. Now I have these two lines over here on this piece of paper, so I'm going to be working over here before I get to my good paper. Again, practice makes perfect, and good practice makes even better. So I have my line. I made it darker just so you could see. Maybe I'll go over in marker. That way you can see it a little bit better, just in case it is hard to see. So I got my Sharpie. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger here for you. Come down. So I got my cross or my plus or my X shape. So on these lines, we are going to start by drawing kind of an upside down boat. So starting at the top, we're going to go work in this top section. So the top two sections. I'm going to start a little bit in from the outside, and I'm going to make that upside down boat shape. So I'm going to come up and I'm going to make my top, or that top of the arc is going to follow on this middle line. Once I hit that line, I'm going to come back out and connect the same thing, not going all the way to the edge. I'm giving a little bit of space. I just created the top of my eye. As you can see, I came up and I came all the way back down, just working on these top two sections. Once I have that top arc, I'm gonna make a bottom of the boat. It's gonna kind of look like an almond shape as well, if you have ever eaten an almond. So I'm going to start on this time. I'm going to start on the edge again on that line, but this time we're going to be working in the bottom two sections. So I'm going to start same thing, come down, creating the upside down boat. Once I hit this middle point, I'm going to start working my way back up to the top. Again, same thing. I'm going to trace over it one more time, starting at that corner, working in the bottom two sections. I'm gonna come over, connect. Once I reach that middle or that dividing line, I'm gonna come all the way back up so that my points meet. One more time, I'm gonna go over that in Sharpie. We're going to start and make an upside down boat. Once I reach that middle, I am coming all the way back down to my line. The same thing on the bottom, making sure that those 2 points connect. It's going to look kind of like an almond or an eye shape. So you have the upside down boat and a regular boat. At this point, we're going to keep these lines, but eventually you will erase those dividing lines, so that plus or X shape, we will be erasing that. But in the meantime, we are going to do the eyelid or the eyelid crease. So starting at that outer edge, you're going to come up, skip a little space. You're just going to follow the shape that you drew. And you're going to come all the way back down. This is going to create our eyelid, or that crease in our eyelid. Once you have that, we're going to come to the middle, and you're going to draw a circle in the middle. Use this as kind of your central point, but if it's not perfectly in the center, don't worry, mine probably won't be either. So I'm going to make a circle starting from the top to the bottom, all the way coming back around and connecting to the top. Now as you see, I kind of have it connecting and following with that original line. So that's going to create our eye. And in the middle of our eye, we're going to make one more smaller circle. And inside of that circle, we're going to do one more circle. This will all be our pupil, and you can fill that in. And if you want to, you can add another circle inside of this middle one to create that reflection or the white space in our eye. Next up, after we have that drawn, at this point we're going to erase these lines. I can't erase in this one because I use a Sharpie marker, but on this copy you'll be able to erase. Next, you're going to add your eyelashes, and these are going to be curved lines. You can make your eyelashes as long or short as you want. You can put a few eyelashes, or you can put a lot. Again, it's up to you, and kind of go off of what your face looks like. Everyone's will look a little bit different, and that's okay. On this corner, once you have your eyelashes drawn, I'm going to do one more step, and in this corner, just going to kind of curve in just a little bit, so you kind of create a little triangle on the edge here. So I just came in and created a little triangle. This will create that little pink in the corner of our eye. And there you go, we have our eye. So now I'm going to move over to this and draw it on this good paper for you. And then we'll pause the video and we'll get started with our eye. So now that we have our eye and our eyebrow drawn, it is time to move on to our nose. And as you saw with all that pointing, our nose is in between our eyes and the bottom of our chin. We have our nose. And then from our nose to our bottom of chin, we have our mouth. So now we're going to learn how to do a nose. I'm going to do it on this separate piece of paper again, just so you can see it a little bit bigger. And then I will also move on to this section as well. Because again, practicing on a separate piece of paper is always beneficial, so we are ready to go on our good paper. So moving on to the nose, we're going to start with making that upside down boat shape once again. So we're making a boat shape. But remember, we're only going to be needing half of our nose. So once you get to our paper, we're actually only going to be needing half. So what you can do is start on here and just draw half of the nose. You're gonna make a half of a boat. So I'm just gonna erase this. Do it in Sharpie one more time so we can see that line just a little bit better. So I have this is the edge of my paper. Coming in from the edge of my paper, I'm going to make that half of that boat. Normally we'd make the whole boat, but again, since we're only doing half a face, we only need half of the nose. So after we make that boat shape, you're gonna come down and across. And on the top of our boat, you're gonna kind of make it like a little fancy, almost like there's a little handle. And you're gonna come up and make an upside down boat. This is going to help create our nostril. And on the end, we're going to make a parentheses. And remember, this is going to go below that arc up here. So we're going to come below and work our way up. This creates the edge of our nose. So we have our nostril in here and the bottom of our nose right there. So that creates the bottom half of our nose. And then coming inside of this line just a little bit, kind of where that arc starts to come down on our nostril, on the top you're going to kind of make an arced line all the way up to your nose. You're going to come in just a little bit. It's going to be a little curved. So you're going to start here and you're going to come in. And then once you get towards your eye, you're going to work your way out. Again, come in and out, creating our bridge of our nose. Once we have that done, we're going to move along to do that on our good paper. So I'm going to outline that in Sharpie one more time. We got our parentheses, our half of our boat, and then at the end of our boat, we're going to curve on in to make our nostril. So this is the bottom part of our nose. Then coming in kind of above the nostril, you're going to go out and in to create that bridge of our nose. Once we have that, we'll move on to the mouth. That we have our nose and our eyes and our head shape all complete, it is time to do our mouth. So with our mouth, what we're going to do, so again, I'm going to do it on this piece of paper, and we're only going to be needing to make half of our mouth as well. So what we're going to do is you're going to take your pencil, and I'm going to draw that half mark. So this is the edge of my paper right here. We have my nose right here. And my eyes will be up here. So right about here is where our mouth is going to be. So we'll say this is the bottom of my chin. My mouth is going to be right in there. So the best way to start with the mouth sometimes is by drawing that line in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down just a tiny bit, make a little curve. I'm just going to come straight across. So see how I had like this tiny little bump in the beginning? I'm going to come out, and you're going to go out a little bit past your edge of your nose and create the mouth. Now you can make your mouth smiling, you can show different emotions or expressions, or you can keep it nice and simple. It is up to you. And if you need help, I can always help you with that as well. But once we have that line drawn right here, we're going to do the top of our lip. On the top of our lip, we're going to kind of start here to curve up. Remember in that video, it showed the ridge of mountains? So you're going to draw the second half of that ridge. And you're going to start, and you're going to come up from your point. You kind of create like a little peak or a mountain peak. And then from that peak, you're going to come down and connect it to our line right there. It can be a little tricky, and again, this may vary depending on how your lips look. So just kind of keep that in mind and make it as close to you as possible. After we have that top lip drawn, we're going to come down into the bottom, and we're just going to make another boat shape. Again, this will only be half, so I'm going to start on the outside this time, and I'm going to curve in and just go straight across once I get to that bottom, and that will create my lip shape. Again, once we practice on our separate piece of paper, we will move on to our good paper, and then we'll have our eyes, nose, and mouth drawn, and we'll be ready to do our hair. So now it is time to do our hair, and we have different variations of our hairstyles that I will show you here, and I'll also keep up the other examples as a reference while we are working. But to comb our hair, we're all going to start with coming in just a little bit from the top of our head. We're going to come in, and this is going to be where our hairline starts. Again, your hairline may adjust, so kind of take a look at your forehead, feel it around if you can't see it, and just kind of see how big you think your forehead is. So from that point, you're going to come and you're going to make just a little line that kind of starts on the paper where you think your forehead line is, and you're going to come out, curve down. See, I'm kind of following that original head shape, and I'm coming down and I'm going to connect. Now you can make adjustments depending on how your hairline or how you want your hairline to go. And we're going to come down and connect. This will create our head shape or our hairline shape. Then coming from the top, so we're going to go a little bit above right here, and you're just going to create the outside of the top of the hair. Again, I am following that original shape, but instead of coming in and connecting, I'm going to come down and connect to about the middle of my ear. And this one I'm going to make the hair kind of up or in like a ponytail, so I can show that variation since we have a short-haired and a long-haired one done. So I'm going to come to the middle of my ear. So if you have short hair or your hair is up, you're going to come to about that halfway point of your ear and make that line. Now see how I have this line right here in the middle from our original head shape? You're just going to erase that line. Since I did in Sharpie, unfortunately I can't erase that, but you're going to erase this line right here. That will create just the head shape, the top of the hair shape up here. So to do a ponytail, let's see, I'll make maybe a bun on top of my head. Just gonna come up here and draw some lines to create that bun shape. Maybe I want a piece of hair that's kind of coming out. And then there is my hair shape. Again, this line will be erased on yours. That way it is just your head shape there. So once you have your hair shape drawn, just play around and make any adjustments on your paper that you would like to make. And then in the next class, we will get to starting to color our portraits, and we'll learn some special techniques on how to do things called shading and tinting. So we'll do the lights and darks of how to kind of make that 3D shape effect.